$380,000 by Thursday, or we start with the corrections. That was the loan shark's ultimatum to my son. The only problem, my son didn't have the money, but he did have a plan. He had me, his 78-year-old mother, and my entire life savings. He just had to figure out how to get rid of me before the deadline. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Do you trust your family? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now. You wouldn't want to be left in the dark when a warning like this comes your way, would you? We have new stories like this every single day. Leave a like and tell us in the comments which city you're watching from. My name is Olivia Thompson. I'm 78 years old, and what I'm about to tell you changed my life forever. In my 78 years, I never thought my own children would try to murder me for money, but that message on the beach saved my life. It was July 15th, 2023, a perfect summer Saturday on North Avenue Beach in Chicago. It had been 2 years since I was widowed, since I lost my dear George in September of 2021. My children, Derek, Sophia, and Emma, had insisted we spend the day together as a family. I have to confess, I was thrilled. Since George's death, my family relationships had grown distant. Derek was 55 and always seemed busy with his business. Sophia, at 52, lived absorbed in her world of luxury, and Emma, the youngest at 48, barely visited me. But that day, they seemed different, more attentive, more loving. We were set up under a blue umbrella near a beachside bar. Lake Michigan was calm. I watched families enjoying the day as my children chatted excitedly. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was part of something. That's when my phone buzzed. 2:47 p.m. exactly, an unknown number. Normally, I don't answer calls I don't recognize, but something pushed me to look at the text message that had just arrived. Leave quietly, don't say anything to your children. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the lake breeze. Who could send me something like that? And why specifically mention my children? I looked at Derek, Sophia, and Emma, who were still talking as if nothing had happened, but now their laughter sounded strange, almost forced. The phone vibrated again, another message from the same number. It's urgent, your life depends on it. I'm in the parking lot, red car, trust me. My heart began to pound. All my life I've been a cautious woman, but I've also learned to trust my gut, and my gut was screaming at me that something was terribly wrong. I feel a little dizzy, I lied, getting up slowly. I'm going to take a short walk to cool off. Derek stood up immediately. Do you want me to come with you, Mum? No, I replied with a smile I hoped looked natural. I'll be right back. I walked towards the parking lot, my mind racing. Who knew I was here? Then I saw her, a woman of about 35 waiting next to a red Ford Focus. Her eyes showed a mix of nervousness and determination. Maria, I whispered in disbelief. Maria Sanchez worked as a housekeeper at Derek's house and had been for 8 years. She was a responsible and discreet woman, a single mother to a little girl named Lily. Mrs. Thompson, she said with a trembling voice, thank you for coming. Your life is in danger. The world seemed to stop around me. We can't talk here. Get in the car, please. My gut told me to trust her. I got into the passenger seat and she started the car immediately. Mrs. Thompson, she began, what I'm about to tell you will be very hard to believe, but your children are planning to hurt you. It was impossible to believe, but the seriousness in her face forced me to listen. She stopped the car in a secluded industrial area and took out her cell phone. Yesterday, while I was cleaning his office, I found some papers, and I took pictures as proof. She showed me the first image. It was a bank document with my signature, but I didn't remember ever signing it. Do you recognize this signature, Mrs. Thompson? It was dated July 8th, just a week ago. Yes, it's my signature, I said. Wait, that was the day of the barbecue at Derek's house. They asked me to sign several papers for the family's health insurance. Maria nodded gravely. That's what I thought. But look at the document you actually signed. She zoomed in. My eyes widened in horror. It wasn't for health insurance. It was a bank transfer authorization for $950,000. My entire fortune. They drugged me. My own kids. It's a betrayal so deep it's hard to breathe. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you trust, subscribe right now. It's a small click to show you stand against this kind of evil. Or are you just going to sit there and watch? Let me know in the comments if you think what they did is unforgivable. This can't be real, I murmured. There's more, Maria continued, showing me another picture. A power of attorney document giving Derek absolute power over all my assets. The third image left me breathless. It was a draft of a forged will, leaving my entire estate to my 3 children. But how is this possible? I was conscious when I signed. Mrs. Thompson, do you remember feeling strange after you ate that day? Maria asked. Dizziness, confusion, drowsiness. Indeed, I remembered feeling unusually tired that afternoon. I thought it was the wine, I admitted weakly. I found this in Derek's kitchen, she said, showing me another photo. A small bottle with a medical label. Bromazepam, 6 milligrams. The pieces fell into place. The insistent family lunch, my strange drowsiness, the documents. They drugged me, I whispered. I think so, she said, but the worst is yet to come. Maria took a deep breath. Last night I overheard a phone conversation Derek was having. He was talking to someone about a very large debt, Mrs. Thompson. He mentioned the amount of $380,000. Sergio sounded desperate, telling the person on the phone that the old problem would be solved soon. When he mentioned your name, I knew I had to warn you. Who do they owe so much money to? I'm not entirely sure, but I heard names that scared me, she said. People from the south side of Chicago involved in illegal loans. Derek repeated the name Mickey the Hammer several times. I knew that reputation. Chicago had its dangerous areas and ruthless loan sharks were a reality. But if they already have access to my money, why do they need... Maria interrupted me. Because the banks are being more cautious with large transfers from seniors. They need you to be present, conscious, and personally ratify any transactions over $100,000. Then I understood. It wasn't enough to drug me once. They needed to keep me under control. There's something else, Maria added. This morning I heard Sophia on the phone. She mentioned something about a plan B in case you became a problem. I couldn't hear everything, but she mentioned words like accident, stairs at home, and quick inheritance. The horror hit me with full force. My own children weren't just planning to rob me. They were willing to get rid of me if necessary. That's why I sent you the message, Maria said. Last night I called the police and explained everything. Inspector Miller is in charge of the case. He was the one who suggested I warn you discreetly. The police are already on their way to your house to execute a search warrant. In less than an hour, my life had turned upside down. What do we do now, Maria? We have to go directly to the police station. Inspector Miller wants to take your statement and do a blood test. As we headed to the police station, I was filled with gratitude for this brave woman and terror for the betrayal of my own children. On the way, Maria revealed more. She had searched Derek's office again after the phone call. She found receipts for extravagant purchases. A new $95,000 Mercedes-Benz for Derek, $45,000 in luxury jewelry for Sophia, and a $180,000 coastal condo for Emma. It's impossible for them to afford such a lifestyle, Maria explained. Between the 3 of them, they don't make more than $9,000 a month. The math was crushing. Then she showed me copies of private loan contracts with brutal terms, 15% monthly interest, and personal guarantees that included physical threats. Derek owed $150,000, Sophia $120,000, and Emma $110,000. In total, $380,000 in debt to the most dangerous people in the region. When are these loans due? I asked. Maria checked her photos. The final deadline is July 20th, 2023. That's in 5 days. Now I understood their desperation. Then she played a recorded conversation from Derek's phone. It was Derek's voice talking to a man with a thick Chicago accent. Mickey, I need more time. The old lady is more suspicious than we thought. There's no more time, Derek. You know the rules. $380,000 by Thursday, or we start with the corrections. I have a plan. My mother has almost $1 million saved up. And if she doesn't cooperate? There was a long pause before Derek responded with a coldness that shattered my heart. Then we'll have to speed up her departure. A household accident. Something natural for a woman her age. The inheritance would be processed in weeks. Tears streamed down my face. My own son planning my death. Maria confirmed the others were in on it, showing me WhatsApp messages between the 3 siblings. Sophia had researched medications to simulate a heart attack, and Emma had consulted a funeral home about rapid cremation. It was a meticulously crafted plan. At the police station, Detective Miller, a man of about 50 with a piercing gaze, met us. "Ms. Sanchez, your call last night was very timely," he said. He immediately ordered a forensic team to take blood and hair samples from me. "If they gave you the combination Ms. Sanchez describes, we'll find evidence," he assured me. While they worked, he explained their progress. "Based on the evidence, we obtained a court order to tap your children's communications and search their homes. The operation began 2 hours ago. A specialized team was executing simultaneous searches at the homes of Derek, Sophia, and Emma. The forensic technician returned with preliminary results. Inspector, we confirm the presence of bromazepam in significant concentrations." "Perfect, Olivia. This scientifically confirms that you were drugged," Miller said. "We have a solid basis to proceed." Then he laid out his plan. "Olivia, we want to organize a controlled operation. We need you to return to Derek's house tonight, acting normally, but wearing hidden recording devices. If we can get them to verbally admit to the plan, we'll have irrefutable evidence." I was about to walk into the lion's den, wearing a wire, to confront the children I raised. The terror was overwhelming. If your heart is pounding for me right now, hit subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it shows you have a soul. If you wouldn't do it for your own mother, then tell me why in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what kind of person wouldn't. The proposal terrified me. Are there no less risky alternatives? "Your children are under extreme pressure from violent lenders," Miller explained. "If they don't get the money in the next few days, they might try something desperate and irreversible." Maria promised to protect me, and Miller assured me that rapid response units would be positioned just blocks away. I would have an emergency device disguised as a pen. I agreed to the operation. My safety was their absolute priority. As we prepared, I knew these were not the children I had raised. They were desperate criminals, and I would be the instrument of their own downfall. At 8:00 p.m. sharp, Maria stopped her car in front of Derek's house. My heart was pounding. I adjusted my glasses with the micro camera and touched the emergency pen in my pocket. The door opened before we could ring. "Mom, thank God you're okay," Derek exclaimed, hugging me with a warmth that felt completely fake. I followed the prepared script, explaining that Maria had found me feeling dizzy. Sophia and Emma rushed out, their faces a mask of concern. Inside, surrounded by luxuries bought with dirty money, the conversation began. "Mom, we've been discussing your financial situation," Derek started. "At your age, managing so much savings must be stressful. Lately, I've been feeling confused about some documents I remember signing," I said, following the police strategy. The three of them exchanged quick glances that the camera would have captured. They suggested a joint account for my safety so they could manage my daily expenses. "What kind of contingencies?" I asked. "Well, if you had another episode of confusion, you would need someone you trust to access your resources," Sophia explained. "How much money would be necessary?" I asked. "To be completely safe, maybe most of your savings," Derek said. "Most of it? We're talking about the $950,000 I have saved up." The silence was deafening. "How do you know that specific figure?" Emma asked. "I checked my bank statements last week," I lied. "After our family lunch, when I felt so strange and sleepy." The three of them became visibly nervous. "There were some movements I didn't remember authorizing," I added. "Transactions of hundreds of thousands of dollars." The atmosphere grew thick with tension. "Mom, we need to be honest with you," Derek finally said. "We've had some financial problems recently." They admitted to debts, almost $400,000. How do you know that exact figure?" Derek stammered. "Because that's the amount on transfer documents with my signature. A signature I don't remember consciously making," I replied calmly. This forced their hand. They confessed everything. The debt to Mickey the Hammer Gallo, the threats, the deadline. "Mom," Derek said, his voice intense, "if something happened to you, if you had some accident, we would inherit immediately." My own son had just admitted they considered my death a solution. "Are you suggesting that my death would be convenient for you?" They broke down. "Mom, Mickey pressured us to consider all available options," Sophia cried. "What options?" Mom, at your age, a domestic accident wouldn't be suspicious, Derek said, looking me dead in the eye. A fall down the stairs, a heart problem during the night. They admitted Sophia had researched drugs to fake a heart attack, and Emma had looked into rapid cremation. Derek's job was to be with me when it happened, to make sure it looked natural. When was this accident supposed to happen? Tomorrow, Derek nodded slowly. We had planned to invite you over. It was going to be the last time. The confessions were complete. My own children had a detailed plan to murder me. Mom, we had no choice, Derek moaned. If we don't pay, he'll kill us, and then he'd come for you anyway. At that moment, I knew my family had crossed a line from which there was no return. My children's confessions had been recorded, but then Derek's suspicion grew. Mom, why are you using that word? Confessed. You sound like a judge, he said, his eyes narrowing. You're too calm. Sophia noticed the unmarked police cars outside. Mom, there are several vehicles parked in unusual places on our street. The situation deteriorated rapidly. I'm suggesting you betrayed us, Derek spat, his voice harsh. He noticed my shirt was different from the one I wore at the beach, a detail I'd overlooked when the police wired me up. He lunged forward, his hands patting down my shirt. Mom, there's something hard here. His fingers found the microphone. It's a microphone, he shouted, ripping it off and crushing it under his foot. She's recording us. Just then, the front and back doors burst open. Police, get on the ground now! Armed officers stormed in. Detective Miller rushed to my side as my 3 children were forced to the ground and handcuffed. Mom! Derek screamed as they cuffed him. You betrayed us. We're your family. An officer at the door called out. We have simultaneously arrested Mickey the Hammer Gallo and 2 associates. You were my children until you decided to murder me for money, I answered with a firmness that surprised me. I had saved my life, but I had lost my family forever. The trial began on August 15, 2023. I had to testify against my own children. The recordings were played for the jury, whose members shivered as they heard Derek, Sophia, and Emma plan my death. Maria's testimony was powerful, moving several jurors as she explained why she risked her life to save mine. Even on the stand, my children tried to manipulate me. Mom, we've made terrible mistakes, but we are still your children, Sophia pleaded. It meant everything to me for 78 years, I replied. But you chose to destroy that relationship when you decided my money was worth more than my life. Listen, if you think family means loyalty and not a license to kill, prove it. Subscribe. It's a vote for justice. If you think they deserve a second chance after planning to murder me, then don't subscribe, but you owe me an explanation in the comments. On December 18, 2023, the jury returned unanimous guilty verdicts on all charges. Derek, Sophia, and Emma were each sentenced to 15 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for 10 years. Mickey the Hammer and his goons got even harsher sentences. As they were led away, Derek shouted, Mom, one day you'll regret this. We're your only family. I turned to him one last time and replied, My family died the night you decided to kill me. The criminals going to prison today just happened to have my children's names. In the months that followed, I began to build a new life. In February 2024, I set up a family trust to guarantee the financial future of Maria and her daughter, Lily. I've learned that true family is not defined by blood, but by loyalty, I told my lawyer. I established a full educational fund for Lily and a security fund for Maria. You saved my life without expecting any benefit, I told her. Now I want to make sure you have all the opportunities my biological children squandered. Lily, who now calls me Grandma Olivia, became the light of my life. We go to piano lessons, swimming lessons, and museums. She wants to be a doctor and a pianist. You can be anything your heart and your hard work allow you to achieve, I told her. With the help of my priest, I used my experience to help others. In May 2024, I founded the George Thompson Center for Senior Support, named after my late husband. We offer free legal advice, psychological therapy, and a 24-hour hotline for elderly people facing abuse. Maria is the center's administrative director. In our first 4 months, we helped 112 seniors, preventing at least 6 serious cases of family financial abuse. I've received 47 letters from my children in prison. They're full of fake apologies and pleas for forgiveness, but never a full acknowledgement of what they did. I have never answered. I have forgiven them in my heart to free my soul from resentment, but that doesn't mean I must restore a relationship with people who proved they were willing to murder me for money. At 78 years old, I have learnt that the deepest betrayals can open paths to the most unexpected blessings. I lost 3 children who turned out to be greedy strangers, but I gained a loyal daughter and a precious granddaughter who fill my life with renewed purpose. My money, which once represented a mortal danger, is now a tool of protection and opportunity for others. I built a new family from the ashes of the old one, a family built on loyalty, not blood. If you believe in the power of good people and second chances, make sure you're subscribed for more stories that will restore your faith in humanity. Don't be one of those people who just takes without